This episode is sponsored by Bear Pro and PPG.
We were talking off air right before we started recording this that, about just the student painter days, right? And how that's launched, your career and what you're doing, what I'm doing now, and countless others. And, whether it's been student painters, college pro, college works, all the different industries, just the entrepreneurs that's built out in the world. So what do you feel like really attributed to your success your first year student painters? Because I know you're a humble guy and you're not going to say anything about this, but like you broke all the rookie records at the time whenever you were an intern with us. And so what do you feel like really attributed to that success you had that first year?
Oh man. My boss, or mentor, and whatever you want to call it, in student painters, he used to always say, "Listen and do it."
Yes.
And he's like, "Listen to what I say and what we teach, and then do it." And I think that was a big part of it. I mean, that's like an oversimplified answer, but it was really, just a dogged work ethic and determination and discipline, and just continually charging for day in, day out. And I remember there's a bunch of little things. Like I remember coming in, it's just so funny looking back on this, it's kind of cringeworthy, but I look back on pictures, and like at the opening training, I had on my name tag, I wrote in Entrepreneur of the Year. I'm like, man, what a kind of not cool thing to do.
Right. But it worked out.
My mindset was I had belief in myself, but I also kind of strategically wanted to just throw out my goals so publicly that I would be embarrassed if I missed. And so I remember early on, it was kind of the burn the boats mentality of, all right, I went up and told Steve, the CEO, I said, hey, I'm gonna be Entrepreneur of the Year. And if I don't, when I see you on the cruise, I'll buy you a bottle of wine or whatever, assuming I'm gonna make the cruise and or the rewards trip. Right. And so I think it was having big goals, a belief in those goals. It was dogged determination and discipline. And I just outworked everyone. I mean,
absolutely.
I remember showing up at the sales 201 training, and I looked around the room and I was so pissed because I was like, there's no possible way anyone in this room has outworked me, but I was last or next to last in sales. And that was a big wake up call for me, where I said, all right, I can't just muscle this. I've got to get smarter, and I've got to learn faster. And so then it was calling up all the top people and just saying, hey, what are you doing? And learning how to be better at sales. And then there's a bunch of things along the way. And this is where I used to have managers call me all the time for the few years after that, because they're kind of like, it's like, you want to call the top guy and say, hey, how'd you do it? The big separator, and so maybe there's a lot of things I could go into on this, but the big separator was July and August. And that was my advice to them always is, hey, it's easy to perform well the first few weeks out of training. It's hard to perform well in July and August, dog days of the summer, when you're like, I haven't had a vacation in months. I would love to get, take the week off or just not deal with this crap. And but that is when I separated. I was not in first the whole time, and then it wasn't really that close at the end of all that. But it's because of, it's separation season, right? Is July and August, and so I think that's probably the big thing, is when other people give up, I keep going. For better or for worse.
No, that's great. And obviously it worked out for you. Well, and it's so funny, right? Because again, I've known you for almost probably a decade now, which is freaking crazy to think about that. But like, you're just confident in yourself, right? Like some people would see you writing Entrepreneur of the Year on your name tag as like an arrogance thing, right? But for you, it was a belief that you were going to do that. And then it was, following up on it and saying, well, now I have to go do this. Like you knew what it was going to take, and it took speaking it into existence.
Right.
And so I think there's a big difference between, and even all the years that I stayed involved with student painters and stuff, you'd see people walk up to Steve and, hey, I'm going to be the Entrepreneur of the Year. And I'm just sitting there going like, no, you're not. Like, you don't even believe in yourself, right? Like you're just saying words. But you were, on the other hand, that you actually knew you were willing to work hard. Right. Yeah. And I think that's a big piece of being a business owner, is that you got to work smart and you got to work hard. Like there's not really one or the other. Either one will get you so far. But if you want to really achieve everything, you got to put both of those two things together.
To watch the full episode, download Overdrive, now available on the App Store and Google Play.